Talking about the end of life with somebody is never an easy thing to do. None of us want to face it, particularly the person who is getting ready to lose a loved one. But it's a necessary conversation, and it isn't something that always has to apply to a senior or somebody who's maybe not expected to live. Think about the condo collapse in Florida that just happened last week. It's a horrible loss of life, a terrible thing for these families to go through. But so many of the people that are unaccounted for at this point are younger people. So while you would think of having a conversation with an elderly relative or loved one, you wouldn't with a younger person. And that's where 5 wishes can come in. So 5 wishes is actually like a living will or an advance directive. We all should have something like that anyway, or at least have talked to our loved ones about the things that we want to have done if we're ever hospitalized in serious condition, or if, heaven forbid, there's something like a car accident and we're killed. So that's what I wanted to discuss today, is 5 wishes and how it is an easy way to have a hard conversation and a good way to make sure if you were to have something happen to you, everyone knows what your wishes are. So what makes the 5 wishes document different than the traditional living will or advance directive that you would get from an attorney is that it's everything that you want to tell people all in one document. It's easy to read. It's not in legalese. It's in layman's terms. And speaking of that, it's available in 29 languages. So many people can have the benefit of this. It easily lays out your personal wants, your spiritual wants or needs, any medical decisions that you want to be made as far as your care if you're not able to make the decision, and also some of the legal things that need to be addressed as well. So the document has been filled out by more than 35 million people. It is developed by somebody who actually was in a hospice and realized how much needed to be done as far as forms to be filled out and things like that, and how many really little details there were if you were somebody who, was probably terminal. And so he, in conjunction with the American Bar Association, this 5 wishes was drawn up. Now, before I go farther, because I don't want to forget, you can find the information online at 5wishes.org, or you can call them at 1-888-5-WISHES, which is WISHES. I'll also put the information down in the I will put the information in the description below. So 5 Wishes was also talked about on CNN and on the Today Show, and it has been discussed in the pages of Time magazine and Money magazine. So it comes highly recommended, and again, 35 million plus people have taken advantage of it. So it's something that you can fill out yourself, and then as part of the 5 Wishes, you distribute copies of it to certain people, which I'll get into later. But the idea too behind it is you will have this for yourself, and then it helps you to open the conversation with friends and loved ones so that they can be thinking about this as well. Okay, so in order to use the 5 Wishes form, you have to be at least 18 years of age. All states recognize it. However, there are 6 states that do require you to take an extra step in order to have it legally recognized. But in general, it's a very easy form to complete, and with the exception of these few states, you only need to have 2 people witness it. You don't even have to have it notarized. So what does it contain? Well, as far as your health, it lets you name a health advocate for yourself if you are unable to make a decision. It gives you the chance to make a first choice, and then a second and third choice if something should happen and your first choice is not available. So that's a great thing. And if you decide in the future that the person that you named is really somebody you don't want to be in charge of your health anymore, your health decisions, you can always cross that person out and change the document, and you just have to have two people witness it again. So it's very easy to make changes to this without having to go to an attorney. As far as medical goes, it also lets you decide how do you want to have yourself, what kind of health care do you want if, for example, you're in a coma. Do you want to continue to stay in that coma for how long, before they were to disconnect life support if there was any? What if you were to have permanent brain damage? What are your choices then? Do you want, again, life support, or would you rather that you just slipped away gently and there were no extraordinary measures taken? 5 Wishes also addresses comfort care. So let's say you're in the hospital or you're under hospice care. What are the things that you would want to have? For example, would you want somebody to come in and cut your hair? Would you want your nails done? Would you want to have somebody brush your teeth if you were unable to? These are all things we don't think about, but really it's something that we should be thinking about. This way, family or friends, they don't have to guess. They're not kind of just winging it. They know exactly what you want. So back to that, hospice care or in the hospital. How would you want to be treated? Do you want to be alone? Some people don't want to have a bunch of visitors. Or are you the person who does want to have a bunch of visitors? How about having somebody touch you? I mean, do you want somebody to hold your hand or put their hand on your shoulder or hug you? Or are you somebody who, when you're not feeling well, would just rather be left alone and not, maybe have a visitor, but not necessarily have somebody touch you? What about music? Would you want to have music played in the room? What kind of music would you want? How about somebody praying over you or with you? Would you want to have a clergy person come in? Would you want to have members of your church or your religious institution come to visit you? Do you not want to hear anything at all about religion? Or do you not want to have anyone pray with you? These are things that you need to be documenting, because you may feel one way and your family or friends may feel another. And if you can't speak for yourself, but maybe you can hear or understand, you're going to be likely annoyed if it's not going the way you really would prefer that it would go. Other things that the 5 Wishes paper document addresses are things like funeral. Would you want to be buried or would you want to be cremated? Do you want to have a memorial service? Do you want to have a full-blown funeral? If you do, is there a prayer or a poem that you would like somebody to read? Who would that person be? In the case of my aunt, before she passed away, she made a point of telling me that she wanted a celebration of life. She didn't want people crying. She wanted it to be several months after her passing so that people were not emotionally raw. She wanted it to be New Orleans jazz band. She thought that was the coolest thing, the best music, uplifting. She wanted that type of music played. So I made a point of downloading music and being able to bring that with so that it was lively and happy when we did all get together to celebrate her life. I would have never known that if she hadn't told me, and a document like the 5 Wishes document can tell people what you want. One thing that nobody really addresses nowadays, and with all of the technology and social media, we really do need to address, are what would you want to have done if you were suddenly gone? What would you want to have done with your social media accounts or any of the other online records that you have? Who would you designate to take care of those things for you? This can be laid out in 5 Wishes. Let's say you wanted to have your best friend delete your Facebook page. You can also leave instructions not only for who that friend is that should take care of it, but you can leave the password in there so that they can get into your social media account and they can delete it for you. So it's got a lot of things that you wouldn't think of that will help you to make sure your wishes are met. So again, you go to 5wishes.org to get the forms for this. Now, an individual form is $5. They do have a family package where you can download 10 forms, I think it is, a DVD with instructions, 2 printed instruction books. I'm not sure you need all of that because the form itself is pretty straightforward, but you have the ability to do that. If you wanted to do that right now, it's less than $45 to do. Also, you can go on the website. If you needed more than one form, they have a discount. I don't remember exactly what it was, but let's say one form is $5 and 2 forms is $7, something like that. So you can see that it is pretty economical to be able to fill out this form. Again, you don't have to go to an attorney in most states to have this taken care of, so it saves you those legal fees, and it is a legal instrument. If you already have an advance directive or a living will, you should know that the 5 wishes form is going to take the place of that. So, because it's the most current dated document that you will have. So just beware of that before you fill it out. If you have something in your previous ones, your living will or your an advance directive from an attorney, you may not want to do this, but it's a nice idea. On the other hand, even if you didn't go through with it as far as having it witnessed and whatever, I think it's a good idea to just see what all they're talking about and write up a form yourself that you could include with your own advance directive if you already have it. Okay, so as I said, there are a few states that are going to require notary for a notarized signature for this, as well as the 2 witnesses. You can get that information on the 5wishes.org website. But notaries are not that expensive either. If you have a bank account, usually you can go into the bank itself and you can have a document notarized right then and there, and it's free. So it still should not be too expensive for you to do this. So last but not least, once you have filled out the document, had it witnessed, maybe notarized if that's what you need to have done, what you need to do then is to distribute it. So you're going to want to make sure that your family members have a copy of it so that they know what you wish to have happen if you're suddenly in a situation where you can't make decisions on your own. You also could give it to your doctor. It's a good idea to do that and ask them to be sure that they put it into your medical records, and then that way there is a place that everybody can also access it. The third thing you want to do if you have an attorney is to give the attorney a copy of it so that you've got it in their records. And then if you were to go to the hospital or you were to go into a nursing home or an assisted living facility, that type of thing, you also want to provide them with a copy so that everybody's on board, everybody knows what's going on. When you get the form from 5 Wishes, there's also a wallet card that comes along with it. It's not a wallet card of the document, but what it is it's a card that you fill out and keep in your wallet that lets somebody know that you have this document and where to find it. And you don't want to be putting it in like a safe deposit box because nobody's going to have access to it. So make sure that wherever you put it, it's in a file cabinet that somebody can get to or something like that. Scan it and put it on your computer if the computer is able to be gotten into without much trouble. And again, make sure to pass it out to family members. So anyway, like I say, it's not the most fun topic to start with somebody, but it is a very good topic to address. You never know when something is going to happen to you, so make sure that your 5 wishes are in place so everybody knows what you want. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please make sure that you hit that subscription button down in the corner and also the notification bell when it pops up. We put out a video like this often, and we want to be sure that you're keeping up with the tips and tricks that we have for aging in place safely, and we thank you so much for joining us. Until the next video, take care. Bye.